Jolly Green 1990 here to do another manga recap video. So the one I'm going to talk about today is a manhwa known as The Twin Siblings' New Life. It's about two twins, male and female, who were born in Korea originally, turned 18 and something happened, we don't know exactly what, but they died and they were reborn as Aryin Uriana and Arjun Uriana. I know to short those names. So I think it's very important to mention that they were raised by their evil mom, who, her name is Rural. She is essentially a spirit, kind of a human form. So she had essentially the ability to, when she got a hold of someone's blood, control them. She had very strong magic. And so she went to the emperor, demonstrated she could heal. And so she took his blood and she controlled him. And through this, she was able to give birth without having sex with him. But she wanted to be empress, and he said no way, because he only had one love, and that was his wife, who had died. And so she said, fine, give me a palace, and that overlooks essentially the imperial palace, since I will never have that, but I can see from far. And when the twins were born, they represented physical looks at the imperial. So the emperor decided to give them names himself, Arjun. He was frustrated and mad they were born because the legitimate children in the empire were seen as a stain, looked down upon. He didn't want that, but at the same time, from the story, it looks like essentially that he didn't blame them. It was not their fault they were born. It was their evil mom, who was known as a Hebe, kind of less like a tree spirit. And this is very important, as the twins both have powers. So there is magic in the story. Arjun has more stronger magic because of her mom. Arjun has more strong natural sword talent, and they all Imperials essentially have a guardian spirit, and so Arjun naturally resonates more with the guardian spirit, whose name is Jason, and he's a red wolf. So the queen's about 5 years old. Their mom, Rural, dies, essentially stabs herself, falls back on something when she's trying to hit the kids. The kids were abused by not only her, but the servants, because the servants could tell her disdain, and she was mad because when she gave birth to him, she lost her abilities as a Hebe, because the Imperials have natural strong healing abilities, and the healing abilities healed essentially her powers, counteracted. So that's why she realized, she could never kill the kids, but she was always blaming them for everything because she lost her powers. So when she dies, the Emperor essentially realizes kids are still alive, because the servant comes and tells him, rescues the kids. And throughout the whole first season, it's about the kids discovering who they are, their family, and realizing it's not their fault they're born as little children, and truly learning to love not only themselves but their family. Because there's several instances where the father said he wished they weren't born, but he's not mad at them, he's mad at their mom. And so they eventually come to realize that he does love them, and they are 4 and 5th of 5 kids. So you have Crown Prince, who's the first son, you have the second son, Alex, and then you have the third son, E.G. Crown Prince has a guardian spirit known as Kaya, who can enter people's minds. The Emperor doesn't have a spirit, because when he marries and essentially gives himself to his wife, she gets her spirit. Well, she died, and so the spirit left, but he is actually strong. Second, Alex has a spirit. I don't really remember what the spirit guardian is. Third one, E.G. has a bird. And then all of the Imperials are naturally taller and stronger even for their age. So Alex is only 10 years old, but he looks like he's in his 20s, and it's because at the age of 5, they grew them when his manifestation was pretty much they awaken their powers, they awaken their growth. So the twins don't have this, but when they hit 12, they do kind of go through another manifestation that they're not as tall, but they are physically stronger. Their healing powers to heal scars. And so that was huge for them, because it's like, when they hit the manifestation, it was proof to the other nobles they are royalty. And so the first season is about several other nobles trying to kill them and usurp the empire. Through the assistance of the spirits and the tenacity of the twins, they are able to defeat the evil noble, one in particular, and they are able to prove themselves as true nobles. And then with this defeat of the noble, the emperor decides to make a law saying that illegitimate children cannot be discriminated against. And we see that in the second season, when the twins go to academy, yes, this is still enacted, but not everyone follows it. So the twins go above and beyond and say, we are illegitimate twins, because not all the kids at that point know. And they say no more discriminating. And so they really go after it. And especially because, as I mentioned, these two are born in Korea before, so they have memories of past lives, so they're technically adults in children bodies, so they're used to, they don't like the discrimination stuff, and so because they're used to the nice pleasantries of Korea, and so when they see this medieval society, it's probably hard for them to understand and frustrate, and how people are so judgmental, but that's how times were, so they're frustrated. Second season focuses on the Forest Empire, particularly Prince Edward, who's the youngest, who is a legitimate child, essentially the second son of the emperor's concubine. You have the first son, Winston, who is evil, and it should be known the Forest Empire is in a rural region in the world, and while it's a beautiful place, typically it would be a lot of desert and trees would be withered, but because they use magic to drain the energy from one part of their empire and keep the citizens enslaved and use their energy to keep them young. And so I mentioned this as Prince Edward, the youngest, comes to essentially the siblings because he's trying to use Arjun's power to find and control a dragon that would give him control over the empire, because the people respect and almost worship dragons as gods. But the dragon, who we meet is known as Sidwell, eventually follows the twins, is like, look, no, I'm not going to serve and work with an empire who enslaves and drains the energy of its citizens. Because the ruling family, and it's a tightly kept secret, not everyone knows about it. And so the empire and the twins eventually find out about it, and they're not happy. But they find out essentially a point where Winston has come to the empire, and he has poisoned his younger brother, Prince Edward, who actually got in the empire, met with the twins, arrogant at first, tried to manipulate the twins, but then apologized and showed his worth, that he would prove that he is worthy of being an emperor. And so, while he's poisoned, Prince Winston comes, is not recognized by Sidwell, is looked down upon by the empire, and not happy. I should also mention that the Forest Empire is significantly smaller than the empire the twins are in. And so if they wanted, they could wipe them out like that. And so the Prince Winston is very disrespectful, towards the dragon, towards the twins, and then he gets mad that they were disrespectful to him, and so he tries to attack and capture both the twins. He ends up capturing Arjun and even poisoning him with an hallucinating drug, and capturing him, keeping him deep within the ocean. And he was able to do that because he has a barrier that was used with the blood of his citizens. And this guy's all about blood, doesn't care. He looks at everyone beneath him. And so, while this is all going on, the third prince, E.G., who I love because he's seen the Mad Prince, goes to the Forest Empire and pretty much tells them, your son has done this, this, and this. If you don't want us to wipe you out, disown him and state that your son, Prince Edward, were your heir. And pretty much that happens because when Alex even the Crown Prince rescues the twins, he even confronts Winston and says, look, if you become king, I will personally eradicate you and your entire nation because of what you did to my siblings. And so I love the fact that the royal family no longer sees them as little children, but rather as their brother and sister. And so I like this series, this Manwha. I enjoy one with a little happy ending with young prince and princesses and magic and medieval times. As I'm a history buff, as I like history, this is one thing that really resonates with me. I particularly like medieval and World War I, World War II history. And so I wanted to kind of go out and say this is my opinion on the twins' siblings' new life. If you like this, please give it a like, give it a comment. If you like the channel, what I'm doing, subscribe. Please let me know. Jolly Green, 1990s.